What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on the channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, continuing on with the Gladiator Deep Dive series, we are going to cover the Death Splinter for this video. I have already made videos for all these splinters beforehand: fire, water, earth, and life, so you can go check those out if you are interested. And the reason for this, in case this is your first video that you're watching, is because of the fact that the conscription ability is coming in with the Soulbound reward cards. There's going to be potentially a conscription rule set, which will allow you to play Gladiator cards in ranked play. And now we'll have Gladiator cards in some or certain tournaments as well, which is going to be exciting. So I think these cards are going to become much more prevalent, and I wanted to do a deep dive into where they are at from an ability standpoint at all levels, and I hadn't done that yet, so that's where we're at. Okay, so we'll start from the bottom here. We have Whistling Damon, a common card. Now you can see I have mine at level 3, which is maxed for gold. Oh, sorry, maxed for bronze. But even at the initial levels, this card is interesting to me because, again, at bronze, 3 mana, 2 damage, 3 speed, and you're doing this to a snipe target can come in really handy, right? So for me, with where I'm at maxed for bronze, you get that extra health, that extra speed. He's going pretty quickly and can become somebody that is formidable. Now, I don't play this card very much, but for 3 mana, sometimes I do throw it in there if it makes sense. Again, the Bloodlust ability you get from the get-go, so that could be handy in certain instances. Now, at the higher levels, so maxed for silver, you get Pierce, which I think is actually quite valuable, especially when you're attacking the snipe position. But keep in mind, he's only doing 2 damage, and there aren't any, outside of using like Selenia Sky as a summoner, there aren't any other summoners that give him a buff on that attack. So for two damage, to me, it's just okay. Where you get in gold, though, where the damage becomes 3 at level 7, now it gets a little bit more interesting, right? Because if there's a smaller monster that has 1 armor and 2 hit points or something like that, you can, the Pierce becomes the extra attack can go that much further, and more so, especially because if you use him in a blast ability rule set, now you're doing 2 pierce damage to the adjacent monsters as well. So I'm hoping to get him obviously up to gold at some point, but you can see I'm only at 14 BCX right now. Going to 220 seems like it is a while away. And then finally, you get the snare ability at the highest levels. Speed is at 5 as well, although I guess the speed goes up in gold. But overall, it's a card that I've used here and there, but not my most used card, which is what we're going to get into right now, and that is Witch of Warwick. So I have this at level 3, maxed for bronze as well, and I really like this card. In fact, I actually liked it before. I liked it more before I leveled it up, because I would use it in reverse speed rule sets. And as you can see here, from the get-go, you get a speed of 1, so great for a reverse speed rule set, 2 magic damage, with Life Leech. Now the health is a little tiny, but I actually like using Life Leech in many games that have the Equalizer rule set. So using it in that means that, Witch of Warwick is going to get a much higher health to start with, most likely. And then, you're able to just start building her up. Now, anytime you are able to kill a monster, you get that Bloodlust ability. And so this is, again, like I said, my favorite card that I've used within the Death Gladiator cards. So once you get maxed for silver, no new abilities, but you do get some extra health, which again could be nice, as well as additional speed. So now, you don't need to use her. In fact, it's not beneficial to use in a reverse speed rule set because she goes a little bit later, although maybe you do want it to attack later, so a higher chance of being the last hit points that kills a monster for Bloodlust. But in the higher levels, this is where I think it could get interesting. I love anything that has Affliction, and so the fact that you can do Affliction with Life Leech, to me, represents a great opportunity for the card. Now, it will always have a max of only 2 damage, but at the highest levels, you do get Affliction as well as the Poison ability. So again, I really like this card. I'm hoping, I'm looking forward to maxing it out and using it at the higher levels, at least in gold. But overall, to me, this is a card that I definitely think has a lot of value right now from the get-go, as well as in the future. Okay, so let's go now to Cotrifius Cotrifus Bane. So 6 mana. This dude is a meat shield in my opinion. So he's very slow, can only do 2 damage. For 6 mana though, you get 12 health or hit points. So it's not terrible. If you get him to maxed for bronze, he does get that extra attack. Again, to me, it's a little slow. It's more so the only time I've ever used it is if I just maybe like a back to basics rule set where I just wanted to have a huge kind of meat shield there that could take a hit. So it's okay. You know, when you get it maxed for silver, you get that extra speed, and in gold, you get an extra attack as well as the retaliate ability. That could make it a little bit more interesting because now it has the potential to do more than just 4 damage per turn, and any monster that it kills with a retaliate, it could, it could trigger the bloodlust ability. Where I think this card shines though is maxed out. Because for 6 mana, you're doing 4 damage, even though it only has a speed of 3, it can take a hit. And the moment it takes its first hit, it gets enraged, which means your speed jumps to 5, your damage jumps to 6, and your bloodlust, right? So, and you will hit back, potential to hit back on any monster with the retaliate ability. So at the lower levels, it's not great, but I am excited to get mine leveled up to hopefully, the first point would be a gold level with retaliate, and then obviously a maxed copy with enrage, I think would be really valuable. The other rare card is Liza Fox. Now, I've used this card several times, but for 7 mana, it's just a little too expensive. And you can see here, I have mine at level 3, which is actually in silver, but at the bronze level, it's a speed of 3, a damage of 4 for 7 mana. It's not terrible. I think it's okay for bronze, actually. In silver though, you get that additional speed, but more importantly, with the maxed for silver, so level 4, you get the stun ability, and I think that's where this card could become much, much more valuable. At the higher levels, or in gold, you just get a couple of extra hit points, but in a maxed version, so Diamond Plus, the support for this monster becomes much more valuable, and I think that I would be more excited to use it in Diamond Plus because of the silence ability to reduce the magic attack of enemy monsters. So at the max level, it's 7 mana, you're doing 5 damage, you're going relatively quickly with a speed of 4, 8 hit points, and then a slew of abilities including stun and silence. So again, another card that is just okay at the beginning. I've used it here and there, but I'm excited to level it up because I think it becomes much more powerful in silver onwards. Okay, let's move on to the epic card, Trap Falloway. Now here's a card that I've used just a couple of times. So you can see here that I don't even have enough to make a level 2, but with the epics, you only need 46 BCX to max it out. Now, this is an interesting card, as you see on the abilities list. We'll get to it, though. For 4 mana, it does 4 damage right off the bat at a speed of 4. So to me, it's actually not that terrible. But the problem is that even in bronze, when you go up against most of the other death tanks, it's going to be someone like a, what's his name? The dude with thorns, Cursed Wendeku, right? And most of the time, I'm going to take Cursed Wendeku with that thorns over Trap Falloway, especially if he only has 4 health. Now, the times that I have used him are in really small mana rule sets where I was going for speed, or I've also tried to use him in certain rule sets where it's equalizer as well, right? Because I like the 4 damage, I like the 4 health, the 4 speed. The 4 health is what gets me though, and I want him to have a little bit more. Now, once you get him maxed for silver, you get that 5th damage, which I think comes in clutch. But the exciting thing is once you get into gold, you get the halving ability, and that is not common at all. As of now, for a long time, it was only with the Halfling Alchemist. They recently introduced it with the promo card Archimist the Bear, but you could have gotten it here with Trap Falloway at higher levels. But I don't even know if anybody has it maxed for or up to level 20 at that point. And then at the highest levels, you do get that 6th attack, so you're doing 6 damage for 4 mana, which to me isn't terrible. You get the halving ability, weaken, and you get weakened from the beginning, but True Strike means you'll never miss as well. So again, another card that is, I don't want to say dominant, but much more interesting at higher levels. So I'm excited to get it there. And then finally, we will go to the legendary card, which you can clearly see I do not have yet, but Zulax Nightwind. Now this is a hefty guy, 9 mana, 3 damage, 3 speed, and 7 armor, 7 health, and you get void armor. So it is a good anti-magic tank that you can offer. It's similar in nature to, at least at the lower levels, similar in nature to, what is that guy called? Legionnaire Alvar, because you get that void armor off the get-go. At level 2, though, I think this gets interesting because you get an extra attack, but you also get thorns. So now you have little magic protection as well as thorns damage for melee. And keep in mind, melee is not gonna is gonna hit your armor first, which you have a ton of. So that's, you know, pretty good in my opinion. You get void at the higher level, so he's starting to remind me of Grum to a certain extent, but not a giant. But so Grum with that bloodlust, thorns, void, and void armor. And then at the highest levels, he's really a great anti-magic, anti-melee tank. So again, this is a card that I think could be very useful in specific rule sets, ones that offer no ranged attacks, for example. So again, this is, I don't have any. I would love to get one at least to level 2 with that thorns. I think could be really valuable. But overall, as a death tank, I think he offers quite a bit of versatility. So, you know, that's the one that's on my wish list. I got to keep opening packs though. So that is all I have for the death monsters. Let me know, or death gladiators, I should say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And I will catch you all in the next video and see you around the game. Take care.